Hello and welcome to yet another Kobayashi Maru Sessions. I'm your host Travis, better known as Nick Holden on the Tempest crew. I've been doing several of these. We have ourselves yet another Patreon supporter. Good friend of the show, Lars, is joining me this time to go ahead and take his best shot at solving the Kobayashi Maru. If you're unsure about how all this stuff works, I would suggest going back and listening to the first episode with our GM, Brian, where I kind of go over all of the stuff in detail. Otherwise, go ahead and sit back and relax. Kick off your shoes. Lean back and just enjoy the gameplay. After all, podcast soothes even the most savage beast. Hello everyone, this is Travis. You know me as Holden on the Starship Tempest. I am here again for another Kobayashi Maru session. Here today we have Lars.
Hello. Thank you for having me. This is actually, I've been looking forward to this since you announced it, and yeah, I'm ready to have some RPG fun and dip my toes into the STA world.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Yeah. So how'd you hear about the show? We've actually been on your show. So I'm never like, what's the actual, if someone is going to go like search it on YouTube to see the episodes?
Okay, so the show that you guys came on to is my Star Trek podcast called Treknicity. That is part of our YouTube channel called the Red Shirt Geeks.
That was what I was thinking of.
So you can go to YouTube and you can either just search Treknicity if you want just the Treknicity episodes. If you want to see everything we've done, you can search for the Red Shirt Geeks, or you can go straight to redshirtgeeks.tv and it'll take you right to our page.
Cool. So one of our patrons was willing to come and subject himself to my version of the Kobayashi Maru, and we're glad to have you. Obviously, friends of the show, we've been on your show. It's a good time. I'm excited about this. Did you listen to the first run that were released by chance?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
And I've been such a huge fan of Starship Tempest since I stumbled across it completely by accident.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, and the minute I knew that there was a Patreon for the show, I think I was probably about 3 episodes in, and then I went for it. I was like, yeah, no, I got
Awesome.
it. And then I binged everything just to catch up, and then now I'm kind of completely caught up with the series. I just listened to the episode of the that talked about world building in Star Trek.
Oh yeah, cool. I'm glad that you have enjoyed us. Yeah, we'll just dive in. It's day 1. You awaken, the lights turn on, you can feel the subtle background vibrations of the engine pumping energy throughout the ship. You are aboard the USS Kobayashi Maru. Your mission is to map the Aldrin Nebula. This nebula is huge. It is right on the edge of Federation space. Only a tiny bit of it is within Federation space. On the other side, completely uncharted space. You're not currently next to Romulan, Klingon, Cardassian space or anything like that. It's just empty beyond there. But you can't even see past this nebula. It's so large that it's about as far as your sensors can go. And you were just you were just tasked with scanning and charting this entire nebula. But it is beautiful. Lots of white dwarf stars shimmering. If you can picture the Hubble images and the James Webb Telescope images and just like that, but just grand as you can possibly fathom. Your job is to scan this nebula. We're going to start with scanning. Scanning is as much an art as it is a science, just like the digital conveyor. And so how are we going to go about scanning this nebula?
What I would do is I would set up a repeating scan that would pick part of the nebula in sections and segment it into quarters, and we would scan one quadrant at a time.
All right, slow and methodical. We will call that a careful scan, because you're being very dutiful and following the strict protocol. Following the protocols to make sure you are scanning meticulously through this nebula. Cool. So that's how you're going to scan this nebula. Right now you're going to be scanning it carefully, meticulously, but you're not going to be scanning the nebula all the time. There are shifts, there are rotations. When you're not being used as a scanner, what do you want to do? What would you like? Branch out. This is also set in the lower decks time frame, so post TNG, Voyager, DS9, but not by a lot, type of thing.
Okay.
But also holodecks are a thing, and so forth and so on. Replicators are readily available.
Well, I would find myself to be kind of an old school, or a lover of all things sort of older school in the Federation. So on my off time, I would use the either use the holodecks or the gymnasium to practice my Parisi squares.
That's great. All right, um, so let's see the holodeck. You're gonna do some Parisi squares. All right. We are gonna call that forceful because that's an impact sport, from my understanding.
Yes, it is.
All right. So Parisi squares. Anything else? Branch out. You can do whatever you want. This is pretty open-ended.
I would find everything to be somewhat mundane as part of normal duty support of Starship. So you eat, you sleep, you might do some light reading, working out in the gym, play games, hang out with other officers, and commiserate on.
Well, I mean, you certainly can want to do all those things. I'm asking you, like, just pick some tasks. Anything you feel like. And if you can't think of anything, totally cool. We can just move on and do the first time jump as well. So it's up to you.
I think I'll dedicate some time to studying what is known about this region of space.
All right. Researching this area. I think we're going to call that a careful as well. You're being dutiful and studying to do better at your job. So, alrighty. Anything else?
Another task is I will practice my 3D chess skills.
Okay. Learning and practicing chess. We're going to call that clever.
Okay.
Alrighty. Anything else come to mind?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. So, currently your plan is you're going to scan the nebula carefully, and then when you're not scanning, you're going to set up a holodeck program and play some Parisi squares. You're going to do also a bunch of background research on this area of space, and you're going to start learning and advancing in chess. All right, so let's go through the rolls. Step one, when I tell you the roll, I'm going to say what you're rolling and what it's for, and you just go ahead and hit the little button, and we'll just collect them as we go. Sound good?
Yep.
All right, give me a careful roll for your scan. All right, so 0 on that. Go ahead and give me a forceful roll for your Parisi squares time.
All right.
0 on that as well. Okay. Give me a careful roll for your researching. -1. And a clever roll for your chess game. 0 for that. Alrighty. So that's essentially sort of filling the time in between. So we jump forward, and we are now on day 8. It's been about a week. The scanning is slow going. I've been using percentages of this very tiny number percentage, but I think the way that the visual of that I came up with is a little more clear. The easiest way to think about scanning and charting this entire nebula is if you were trying to catalog every single grain of beach sand in the entire world. After this first week, you have covered about 1 grain of sand.
Wow. It's a huge nebula.
It is a very large nebula. But as you learn, you'll do more, right? That's the whole point, is you're doing cycles and you're learning and growing and just keep doing better. Your Parisi Squares game continues unabated. At this point, no one has come in to join you yet, but maybe they will, depending on how it goes. You continue researching the nebula with your careful roll, and your chess. You now know the basics of 3D chess. You are playing lots of games to try and get better at it, but you're not great at it yet. To simulate the improvement of you in all of those areas, we are going to go ahead and bump up your stats. You rolled twice in careful, so I'm going to give you 2 careful points. Chess with some clever background, so you're going to go ahead and go up in 1 in clever, and then Parisi Squares takes you up 1 in forceful. And so now we're on day 8. How do you want to scan this nebula?
Since it is rather kind of meticulous, what I wanted to do is I wanted to try seeing if cross-reference what I am seeing with anything else we've seen with this particular type of nebula. Is there anything on file that we've already cataloged, and see if there's anything unusual compared to what we already know.
Okay. I'm going to call that a carryover from your research that you were doing on it. So instead, we'll make the scanning clever for you. So you can still do your careful scan because you're still being meticulous about it, but now you're utilizing that research that you did before to do an additional clever scan on the nebula as well. But you won't be rolling the careful for the research anymore since that's now being applied.
Okay.
Right? So you're scanning the nebula. That's what you're scanning. That's your job. That's your entire existence of being scanning this whole nebula. Outside of when you're being used as a scanner, greasy squares, chess keep going. At this point, I'm going to run through the laundry list. Unless you tell me to stop, I'm going to assume you're going to continue doing the things we've already talked about, and then I'm going to prompt you to see if you want to do anything else, any different.
Okay.
So, anything new you want to add to this cycle?
Yeah. So one of the things that I've always wanted to do is because I'm out here in deep space, you get tired of replicator food. I am going to attempt to create some interesting dishes for my fellow crew.
Okay, you're gonna take up cooking?
Yep.
All right. Cooking. We're gonna call that. What type of cooking are you gonna do?
I'm thinking kind of Asian fusion.
All right, a little adventurous. We're gonna call this flashy then. You're trying to make some interesting new things. Anything else you want to do?
No, I think we got a pretty good list right now.
Alrighty. So we'll run through again to do the next time jump. Give me a careful roll for your scan. No, 4. Ooh. Clever roll for the scan for the cross-referencing scan. 1. A forceful roll for Parisi squares. -3. And a clever roll for your chess. -3 is there as well. And a flashy for your cooking. -4. Oof. Alrighty. So, let's see. So scanning, jump forward in time. We are now at day 32. We're about a month into this this endeavor. Rather than a single grain of sand at this point, you have scanned approximately like as if you took like a big pinch of sand. Your Parisi squares continues. Still no one has joined you as of yet. Your chess, you're getting a little better, but you were running simulations and trying chess games, and you had a stint of getting beat regularly by it. So now you're trying to relearn a little bit. And the flashy, -4. You tried to experiment with some cooking first. But let's just be honest, it just became a mess. All of the food just kind of like ended up on top of one another. Like you're replicating ingredients and they just kind of like fall off the replicator and like it becomes a giant mess on the floor as opposed to any sort of actual dishes. Not quite cooked yet. So yeah, so that's that. So we're day 32, about a month in. What's next? How do you want to keep scanning this nebula?
Okay, so now obviously we're putting a lot of time and attention to being as meticulous as possible. We need to get a greater or more general sense of what we're looking at. So what I'm going to do is now that we're a month in and I kind of have a basic layout of the nebula, I'm going to prepare a series of probes, and I'm going to launch them out into different quadrants of the nebula. And I will then launch them off. I'll continue where I was initially, kind of focusing on an area, and then I will collate the information that the probes report back to me as I'm working.
Okay. We're going to call this one quick. Since you're getting multiple data points at the same time, the idea is to sort of like use all of those, may speed up your process. So we'll have a quick roll there. I'm gonna let you keep using clever because of the research data you did. Continue your careful, methodical chance. Parisi squares, chess, continuing to try and learn how to cook. Anything else you want to add into there?
No, I think I'm good right now.
Off duty. Okay. All right. So we'll just run through them again. Give me a quick roll to launch your probes. Is roll 20 running slow on your end as well?
It is.
Okay. Yep. Good. That's not just me. Give me a clever roll for the cross-referencing. -1. Give me a careful roll for the main scan. 1. Give me a forceful roll for your Parisi squares. 1. Give me a clever roll for your chess game. 1. And give me a flashy roll for your cooking. -1. All right, better than -4. Alrighty, so we time jump again. During that time, continue to play Parisi squares, continue to learn and master chess, continue to try and cooking. At this point, you're able to replicate some actual, you've actually created some dishes now. You're still replicating existing dishes. I wouldn't say that you are to the point where you can invent your own recipes as of yet, but you at least are cooking. The probes gather a bunch of evidence. We are on day 128. 128 days, approximately 4 months. At this point, you have scanned and charted, rather than just a pinch of sand, as if you scooped up a handful of sand. So again, feels small compared to all of the beach sand in the entire world, but when you compare it to 1 grain to a big pinch of sand to a big hand, the amount is growing. Yeah. So what's next? How do you want us to keep scanning?
So I want to continue working on my methodology. So I will try to patch in other parts of the ship's systems, not just the active scanners, but also have have astrometrics do additional scanning, look for equipment that could pardon the cliche, can map gaseous anomalies, and we'll also send what results I have back to Starfleet and ask for further analysis.
So we're adding, utilizing the astrometrics lab, their equipment and their systems to try and help process the data a little faster, and then you're also shipping off your scanning data to Starfleet directly. Asking if they could provide any insights or help based on it. Right. The astrometrics. I don't know why that's one key question. So, yeah, we're gonna call that. Are you trying to coordinate, or are you just gonna use the astrometrics systems?
Definitely coordinating with the main ship systems.
Gotcha. Since you're actively letting everybody know what you're doing, we're gonna call this careful. And asking Starfleet for help, we'll call that quick as well. Alrighty. And I think that's everything. You have anything else you want to do on your off time? You know?
I think I'm good.
All right. You're staying focused on the thing that you were tasked to do. I like it. All right, we'll run through. Give me a quick scan for your probe gathering. -4. Give me a careful scan. 3. Give me a forceful for your Parisi squares. -1 again. Give me a clever for your chess games. 0. Give me a flashy for your continued cooking endeavors. 0. Give me a careful for your astrometrics coordination. 2. And give me a quick for asking Starfleet for help. -2. All right, we jump forward in time. Yeah, I'll run through the things that happened. So you were able to continue scanning. You got a bunch of information rather than a handful, like a big scoop, a handful of sand. Over this last time jump, you have scanned the approximation of like a 5-gallon bucket full of sand. Your Parisi squares is going. At this point, a couple of the crewmates have sort of wandered in while these simulations were running and were like, "What is this game?" Because they just hadn't heard of it. You beckon them in. They end up joining. One of them gets hurt and never comes back. But a couple of them stay, and so now you have a handful of crew members that are coming in and playing Parisi squares with you. Your chess, at this point, you are never losing a game against, like in the simulation, you're never losing a game against the computer. Maybe one of your Parisi squares people we can say wants to come in and play some chess against you in the holodeck. But yeah, the cooking, at this point, you have absorbed most recipes. You are well versed in recipes within like, where are you from? I guess would be where do you feel like you're coming from?
I'm a human,
Okay.
and I'm a West Coast of let's say California. We'll say just for the sake of for the this simulation, I am from San Francisco.
Sounds good. Um, so from your generational birthplace, as it were. So yeah, at this point, you have learned all recipes having to do from Earth. Like you just downloaded and sort of went through them all, and like you've done that thing. You did send you are using the astrometrics to help you. That was part of why your scanner became better. And you did send a message to Starfleet to say, hey, here's the data. Can you look to see if there's anything like this, anything that you can help send back to speed it up? You did get a read receipt on that email. It says that it's been opened, but you have not heard back. We did the time jump forward. We are now on day 512, approximately a year and a half. How do you want to keep scanning?
So since we're a year and a half into this endeavor, um, I think what we have to do is we now have to like with these processes. These are what I'm doing primarily by myself.
Yep. Yeah, you're just scanning the nebula. Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to need to. I would have assembled a team of of officers of different, I guess, disciplines, um, and I would assign them different tasks to try to break up the scanning process so that we can go through it more quickly. Um, if I still haven't had any response back from Starfleet directly, um, I would, I guess, semi go out of protocol. I would make direct contact with the Vulcan Science Directorate, or the Vulcan Science
Okay.
Academy, and ask for some assistance in interpreting the results.
All right. So I wanted to gather the team. Um, Make that a task. Gathering a team. So how would you gather them up? You're just just different disciplines. You want to just ask the handful of people that are coming to the Parisi Squares tournaments.
Well, I would break down the different stages or the different types of data and items we would find in a particular nebula. And I would approach the department heads of each of those different disciplines and ask for assistance from one of their team.
Okay.
So, it
Yeah.
could be stellar gases, it could be astrospectrography, it could be
Okay.
thermodynamics.
Okay. We'll call that a clever role for that. How are you asking the Vulcans for help? Are you like, what's the tone of the message you send them?
Um, I explained that I am charting a very large nebula that I feel has may have some significant um, information in it that we can learn from, and I would appreciate their assistance in interpreting the results to ensure that I am as accurate as possible.
All right. We're gonna call that careful, appealing to their logical and their doing the right thing. Um, you never got word back from Starfleet when you asked them for help. You just got the read receipt. So unless you want to send another message, that one we won't roll this time. Cooking research or cooking chess, Parisi squares. Anything else you want to do on your off time?
So with the cooking part, I think now that I've spent a significant amount of time learning how to actually execute the craft, I will then start holding evenings and inviting fellow officers to come and dine with me, and
Okay.
I will cook for them. And then I also, as far as the Precy Squares, I will advance that from simple training and learning to finding, I'm if I've found other people interested in playing, like maybe a set of 8 or more people on the ship who would be interested in playing it, I would form a rudimentary league, um, and and have a friendly competition going.
All right, so now you're getting a league going. All right, anything else?
And as far as chess, the 3D chess,
At this point, you don't lose a game in the simulations. You are
right, so I would then start seeking real life opponents, especially any Vulcans on the ship because they are typically masters at 3D chess.
all right. Let's see. Let's find one of them. Let's make why not? We're gonna make the Vulcan. Oh, Brian's gonna kill me because this is not a Vulcan name. Lieutenant Junior Grade Spangler is a Vulcan for some reason. And likes 3D chess.
So you would spell it S''Pengler.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Yeah, let's run through. Unless you want anything else, not trying to pigeonhole you, you are allowed to branch out and do whatever, access anything you feel like doing. So.
No, and I think, but again, like this is a fairly routine process being a Starfleet officer. And yes, you can as you go along, you can branch out and go in different directions. But we have a main task, which is to chart this nebula. But also there's a couple of personal pursuits that would take up a significant amount of time. So I'm good with what we're doing right now.
All right, I'm gonna stick with it. All right, give me a quick roll for your probe scan. -3. Give me a careful roll for the meticulous part of the scanning. 5. Give me a clever for your assembly of a team. 3. Give me another careful roll for your message to the Vulcans. 2. Give me a careful for the astrometrics lab again. 2. Flashy for the cooking. 3. Clever for the chess. 5. And a forceful for the Parisi squares. 0. Okay. Alrighty. So we go ahead and jump forward in time again. The things that happened while we were doing those things, you continued to scan. You sent that email to sent that message to the Vulcans. Again, see the read receipt. You don't get a direct response back. It does look like it was forwarded to Starfleet itself as well. You sent out notifications to a handful of different department teams and said, hey, I'm trying to scan this nebula. I could use a little help. How about let's assemble a team together and start working on this data together to try and speed this process up. Those have all been read. You haven't really gotten a response back as of yet. The Parisi Squares League, you do it. Currently, the couple of people that came in on one of your games, now they've played a couple times, but that's all that seem interested at the moment. You post, some digital flyers up on the little walkway panels, right? Like it just pops up with a do you like Parisi Squares? And doing that sort of thing, but you haven't got a lot of response as of yet. The chess, you invite Spangler to come try playing. You are able to defeat him pretty easily. It's pretty impressive. You are just Grandmaster plus, whatever it happens to be. You are just set on ultra hard mode at this point. And the astrometrics, you continue doing the thing, and I think that's it. So yeah, that's all the things that happen over the course of the time. We are now at day 1024, approximately 2.8 years. At this point, you have scanned what is the equivalent of like an F-150 truck bed full of sand in there. So again, compared to the whole world, it's a lot, but if you run back through grain of sand, pinch of sand, handful of sand, bucket of sand, truckload of sand. So growing fast as you get better at scanning. Yeah, so we're back to square one. How do you want to keep scanning?
Again, I think the best way to do it is to do it. It has to be a collaborative effort. So I will continue reaching out, trying to build a team. And as it doesn't have to be like a constant thing. Like it doesn't have to be like everybody's dedicated to it full time. It can be, as people have time and on their off duty, it can go in and just kind of do a little bit and help the whole process along. Um, I will also be requesting any updates on from Starfleet. If we have any kind of resupply that comes out to us, um, I will have them attempt to or have engineering upgrade the sensors.
All right, upgrade scanner. So that sounded like two different things. Are you going to request Starfleet to send you upgrades, or are you going to have engineering work on an upgrade?
Well, I would have them
Okay.
have Starfleet send us the specifications and then have engineering replicate and implement.
Okay, so you're going to send out like a request just to make sure you're the most updated version. Make sure you like scanner 1.25 AC as opposed to
Yeah,
scanner 1.2 type of
yeah,
thing.
exactly. Get the very latest firmware from them.
So yeah, you're going to look for your own. You're going to look for an updated firmware for yourself. So that is going to be, what would that be? Probably. I feel like that's. I'm going to go with careful as well on that one again. Checking to make sure you have the most updated scanners is probably a careful, like a smart, smart way to go. And continue with your team collaboration.
I am also going to add another step to the scanning process.
Shoot.
And this will be off-duty activities. I'm going to take a shuttle,
Okay.
and I'm going to do some I'm going to go and explore different parts of the nebula, not necessarily just for deep scanning, but also just to enjoy it.
Okay.
I've been here for almost 3 years with this thing. It's you kind of get used to seeing it. So in order to, I guess, keep the shine on the penny, you have to go out and do different aspects of this job with it.
Okay. You're gonna take a shuttlecraft out. Are you gonna go through the proper channels and like request, or are you just gonna like go down in the shuttle bay and just take a shuttle out?
Yeah, I'll just take a shuttle out, and if anybody asks me, I'll just tell them I'm doing it. It's all in the name of research.
All right. I think we're gonna call that a sneaky roll then, because you aren't requesting access to the shuttle. You're just gonna go down the shuttle and ask. I gotta use sneaky at some way. So.
Yeah.
Have not heard back from Starfleet Command. Have not heard back from the Vulcans as of yet. If you want to send messages to anybody else, let me know. Continue with your. At this point, I'm gonna call astrometrics done. You are getting so much data in your scans that you have more data than like. At this point, you're the one feeding data to all the other systems. So.
Right.
You're cooking. I'm gonna say at this point you're good enough. You actually open up a restaurant in one of the holodecks. It is a very. What type of restaurant is this going to be for you? You were doing Asian fusion, but you don't have to stick with that. You can always switch up or branch out if you want.
As far as what I do, I mean, obviously, I'm thinking what I'm going to do is start learning different techniques, different cuisines, Indian, Mediterranean. Even to the point. I mean, see, being from San Francisco, I know it sounds a little cliche, but but Asian food or Chinese food is a huge part of the culture of that city.
Yeah.
So, I'll like basically start sampling as much as I can, a little bit of Cajun, Creole cooking, and then once I've gotten kind of my head around the basics of all that, then I'll start looking at other species cuisines.
Right.
Look at Vulcan cooking, look at Andorian foods, especially those specific to what we have in the crew, so that
On the ship.
Yeah, I can cater to my fellow crewmates of all species.
Okay, so you open up this very nice restaurant with a rotating menu. Basically, they go in, people show up. The first few people that show up didn't actually know about it. You hadn't sent out the notification to everyone that like, hey, there's now a fancy restaurant in the holodeck. But a few people go in just for like their normal shore leave, and they're like, what is this program running? And they kind of get a waft of some very delicious food, and are like, well, now I'm kind of hungry. So they sit down, and word spreads pretty quickly around the ship. So now people are coming in and doing it. Chess, are you going to continue learning and mastering and perfecting chess at this point?
I think what I'll do is if I'm good enough, I'm actually going to start teaching it.
Okay, so let's go ahead and say that like, yeah, you all like in lieu of the invites sent out to try and invite people to the to your restaurant, a little attachment is also like, also if you like chess, come at these different hours, and we'll have a chess instruction thing as well. Parisi Square League continues on. A couple more people have started trickling in, but it's still not a lot. I think we got everything.
Yep.
All right, let's run through your rolls again. Give me a quick roll for your probe scan. 2. Give me a careful roll for the regular scan. 4. Give me a forceful roll for your Parisi Square League. 5. Give me a clever roll for your chess game. Your chess instruction, I should say. 8. Give me a flashy for your restaurant. 0. Give me a clever for your team, your collaboration. 6. Give me a careful for your firmware update. 7. And give me a sneaky to try and take the shuttlecraft out. -4. Woof.
Busted.
Right. So, yeah, you're continuing to scan. You're continuing to get data. We have jump forward time yet again. At this point, you have scanned, rather than a big pickup truck bed, you've done what is essentially the equivalent of several dump trucks full of sand in this last scan jump. Parisi Square League is now going strong. Enough people have joined that, like, between them, you, and some additional holographic players like yourself are just being able to fill out at least a league enough, right? Like, there's some teams that have all all people, but then most have at least a couple holographic people to just help spread everybody out. Chess class is going well. Several of the crew decided to partake, and you are now teaching them chess. Restaurant is going well. Again, it was a surprise at first, but now there's some people venturing in. It's sort of a regular spot. You're listening on the conversation. People are still just like, man, I don't know where this place came from, but I really like it. Scanner upgrade, got a 7 on that. All your firmware is completely up to date. You maxed out on your scanner on that front. So unless you want to partake trying to improve on that thing, but in terms of Starfleet, you have the newest and greatest scanner firmware. You are the newest and greatest scanner newest and greatest scanner firmware. You're gathering your team. At this point, you have a set team in place. With the team in place, I'm going to call it a +1 bonus to your scan rolls, to one of your scan rolls for every time you roll. And the shuttlecraft, -4 on your sneaky. You tried to take the shuttlecraft out, but there are security locks in place, so people can't just show up and leave in a shuttle. So when you tried to activate the shuttle startup sequence and open the pod, the doors, the bay doors, the thing set off a little alarm. Doors close, and you're not able to make it out. So yeah, all of that was what had happened over this time frame. We jump forward. We are now on day 4096. Approximately 11.2 years. How do you want to keep scanning?
At this point, 11 years of scanning the nebula, I think I'm slowly losing the will to live.
Oh no.
But no, seriously, given that much time and spending it with this particular project, it is now clearly somewhat of a life's ambition to know what I can about this particular nebula, and I think I will have become somewhat of an expert on what I've been able to discover over the last so many years. So what I would do is, in an attempt to not only make the process faster, but also make it more or say richer or more inclusive, is I will attempt to learn how the sensors actually work, what is involved with adjusting their resolution, the software upgrades that go with it, and attempt to learn how to write better software to control the sensors and be able to, again, collaboratively link in all the systems.
Right.
We'll regularly and then we'll regularly have the computer do round-the-clock processing of data.
All right, so some self-diagnostics and learning the sensor systems. Yeah.
And then in trying to learn to improve them.
Okay. An improvement. We're gonna call that clever as well. Are we done with the scanner upgrade? All right, so yeah, the self-diagnostic and seeking, improvement to get to maximize all of the subroutines and wiring and software to be the best scanner ever will be clever. Anything else you want to add to the things?
As far as the scanning goes, I think that's a natural progression.
Yeah.
I think as far as doing the Parisi squares, after this amount of time, I think it will have evolved into not just one particular sport and it being a league sport. It would be largely a physical fitness campaign to keep the crew fit and healthy. So it would branch out into, you know, groups of doing runs, doing strength training, like endurance training,
Okay.
as well as, yeah, I mean, and finding ways to also, because I'm guessing that being on this ship this long, we may have generational updates, so people might be pairing off and having children. So working to that side as well, basically working to keep the crew fit and healthy through exercise.
Okay. Sounds good. Anything new you want to add to the list?
Yes, and as far as the restaurant goes, I have started a rotating theme of the restaurant goes through rotating themes now. For some reason, the most popular one seems to be a pizza joint that serves Romulan pizza. You might have heard of it. It's called Romano's.
Oh, it's so good. I love it.
One of the other things that always sticks in my mind, wherever I'm at these days, there's, especially the end of the day, there's always an ice cream truck around, and I always imagine seeing it with Klingon iconography on it.
Awesome. Oh, that makes my day. All right, so yeah, so we'll do that. I'm gonna have you do a quick careful roll, and this is gonna be just, you had mentioned a thing about like wondering the health of the crew and like potentially generational children and stuff. So go ahead and just give me a careful roll, and I'll just give you some info about the crew itself.
Okay.
All right, so you do a quick personnel check to see everybody on the ship. You see they're all what would be typical of a crew age ranges in terms of ensigns to captain and so forth. That's all pretty comparable to what you would expect. Currently, there's no children on board as well. Continue the fitness thing. Your teaching chest, cooking, with always a corner of Romano's available for people, which I love and appreciate. Unless you're gonna try and take a shuttlecraft out again, I'm gonna cut that one off of the thing.
Yeah, no, I think that was kind of a one-off type of deal.
Okay. And your self-diagnostics attempt at improving the sensors. And I think that's everything. Something was popping in my head a second ago, and it just has vanished out of my mind. Yep, that's not coming back. All right. So yeah, we will go ahead and run through all your rolls. Give me a quick roll for your probe gathering. 7. Give me a careful roll for your main scan. 8. +1, that'll be a 9. Give me a forceful for your fitness plan for the crew. 3. Give me that one's done. Clever for your chess instruction. 7. Give me a clever for the attempts at improving the scanning systems. 6. All right, you can improve yourself a bit. Yeah, so we'll jump forward in time again. During that time frame, you are able to scan much more of the thing. What you were doing with multiple jump trucks worth of sand, this last one, you were able to essentially scan an entire beach worth of sand. Just one full length, like large beach of it. The fitness thing continues as normal. public people come in, work out, goes fine. At this point, your chess instruction has become so advanced that you are, every time someone logs in and starts playing some chess, not only do you instruct them, but now every instruction is tailored exactly to the person playing. Like, you have learned how each person plays, you tell them the things that they're doing wrong, and every time they make a move, you're like, okay, you reintegrate that data, you kind of figure out, okay, well, this is what they're thinking, this, and you're just like, you're reactive to them and just making sure you're teaching them in the most efficient manner for each individual person. So they are starting to get very good at chess, this particular crew, at least the people who like playing chess. You still have not heard back from Starfleet, Vulcans, or anything like that. And a 6 on the clever. And yeah, you are able to, you see some interesting things when you were doing those self-diagnostics. You were able to like get a sense of how these systems work. I would say you don't have a full understanding of everything just yet. But you're getting there. You're learning over time. And so like, you're going to get better at it, kind of be able to see from the outside in sort of thing. Now I think would be a good time for an aspect. We could have done this last time. I think that's one of the things I was thinking of doing and then forgot. But so yeah, so how is your character feeling? How is your character personality? Like, what do you feel like is some of your motivations as a character?
I think that he is learning a lot of what he has been observing over the last so many years. And as such, I think there is I think almost like a sense of wonder about everything that he's doing with this. Like, I mean, he does have obviously has his pursuits, his off-duty pursuits and whatnot, but this is the stuff that gets him out of his rack each morning. And so he feels very dedicated to advancing the Federation's knowledge of not just this particular nebula, but also this this sector of space and how it pertains to other particular astral bodies that that various different expeditions have mapped over the years.
Okay.
So again, he's very passionate about his work.
Okay, great. Yeah, that is the thing you were designed for. You were sticking to your scanning, and I appreciate that. And you're being very good at it. Like I said, the growth, the time jumps are getting longer, but the growth is exponential compared to the time jumps, I can assure you. Because that's just how you learn and grow, right? Experience and doing it a million times. Did I go over everything? Okay, let's run through. Give me a quick roll for your probe collection. 4. Give me a careful roll for your typical scanning. A 9 + 1, so that'll be the first double-digit one for you. Give me a forceful for your fitness routine, your fitness gym, essentially. You're running the fitness for the ship. 4. Give me a clever for your chess games. 11. Yeah, those. Give me a clever for the trying to improve, because you were not completely there yet. So 9. All right. Okay, so that is the thing that went through time. You continue to get scan. We jump ahead in time. Jump forward in time again. At this point, you did a full beach worth of sand the last time. This time you were able to do essentially the entirety of an island. Let's just say like the big island of Hawaii. Like maybe all the islands within Hawaii have now worth of beach sand that you were able to scan and chart within this particular time jump. The Parisi Squares group continues unabated. Multiple people coming in. People are using it and enjoying it. Chess, again, people are getting better over time. You continue to be the best chess instruction anyone has ever seen. And you are enabled, at this point, you understand all of the circuitry, all of the programming within the scanning systems. Just super self-aware of everything that's going on in those systems. Something seems a little off to you in the system, but you can't quite place your finger on it. But other than that, you have a very solid handle on that, and we are now on day 8,192, approximately 22.4 years into this mission for you. And how would you like to keep scanning this nebula?
I would say that by this point, we will have had assistance from several other starships that would have come into this system, because 20 plus years is um, a long time to be on a mission. Um, but at the same time, and naturally it evolves. So again, I'd be calling in assistance from other starships, especially more advanced ones, as they pass through the system. Maybe they come in for a couple of days, they do some scans, they pass me the data. And
Thus far, you have not received any messages back from ships. No one has come to help you scan or anything.
okay. That's kind of crappy on their part, but that's all right. We'll carry on because that's what we do.
We did we make a aspect? Did we do that?
We talked about it. You
Okay.
asked about it, but I don't
I'm
think
sorry. Yeah, let's do an aspect for you real quick before we do the next round of scanning. I'm sorry. I think I got sidetracked when we were talking about it. So yeah, the feeling that your character is having, and what do you think is an aspect of your character's personality at this point?
I would say high dedication to his task.
That's what it was. Yeah. Dedication to scanning. Yeah, so how do you want to scan on day 8,192?
I would say that we have probably redefined the art of scanning. I mean, uh, given the fact we've been on this ship for so long, nothing is the same as it was from day one. Technology has advanced, the equipment has advanced, the methodology for studying and collating data and interpreting what we're finding has gotten better just by the nature of evolution. So I would, have already been working with a lot of crew members to learn as much as we can. We start looking for differences, because again, like we're doing a broad scan, we're gathering all this data, we're crunching the numbers, but in the end, what we're looking for is things we haven't seen before. So we start narrowing our bandwidth a little bit to looking for things that we haven't seen before, something new,
Okay.
different.
All right, I'm gonna switch your normal scan to clever then. You're sort of refocusing how you're trying to scan that nebula into trying to see, making assumptions based on like what you've seen in past nebula, or what historical scanning data has shown for nebula, and saying like, okay, what's out of the ordinary in this particular scan. So that'll be a clever roll this time. Anything else? Currently, the only things on the list are your continued restaurant running, chess instruction, and fitness program.
I would think, given my advance in years, I would be handing a lot of the physical fitness elements off to younger officers who would be able to continue this better than I can. And I would start to move more towards academics. Would spend a fair amount of time reading both classical literature, as well as perhaps even taking a foray into writing something myself.
All right, so academia going on there. All right. Yeah, we'll call that. What do we want to call that? I feel like that's either clever or careful again. Right, careful. You're doing it as a winding down of physical stuff. So you have come to the conclusion. I will say, all of the fitness programs that are running in the holodeck, like they still do Prezi squares. You do lots of mountain climbing, lots of parkour, all sorts of fun things. You have not lost a step. Same thing as day one. You excel at it. You were great at it. Never get tired. You're fine. But you were saying, okay, I've been scanning for 20 plus years at this point, 22.4 years. Maybe it's time I start slowing down and doing some old man stuff. So now you're going to start doing some academia. You're going to start like reading book, get some book learning in, and then maybe trying your hand at writing. Are you doing fictional? Is it to try and do academia type stuff? Like, are you going to try and write a book on scanning?
Yeah, I would definitely write a book on uh, nebula uh, methodology or um, data processing, scanning and data processing.
All right, so you're gonna start writing a book, a treatise on scanning. All right, cool. I like it. Um, Anything else you want to do in your off time?
I think we're good.
Think you're good? Okay. We will run through. Give me a clever roll for your new scanning methodology. 12 plus 1, so give me a 13. Give me a quick roll for the probes. 7. Give me a forceful roll. I'm going to have you still do the Parisi squares roll for this one, and then if you want to fully stop it, we'll stop with the next one.
Okay.
6. Give me a clever roll for your chess instruction. 12, nice. And a flashy for your cooking. 7, and a careful for your treatise on scanning. 7, awesome. Alrighty, so we jump forward in time. You continue scanning efficiency and ability continues to grow exponentially. You have now scanned and charted basically like several island chains worth of beach sand. So like all of Hawaii, everything in the Philippines, a couple other island chains here and there worth of beach sand is how much you have covered at this point. The Parisi Squares thing, you started showing up a little bit less. You're doing less activities within the holodeck in terms of like the fitness things. It doesn't seem like the people that are attending has gone down at all. They seem to still be showing up in the same numbers, but you are attending it less. Chess, continue to be an expert instruction. You're becoming the best at chess ever. Cooking, your restaurant continues to be popular. At this point, you've seen everyone on the crew a couple times, so that works out well. And you have written and rewritten that treatise on scanning a whole bunch of times until you get it right. You just keep filling out prose, going back, redoing it, regenerating more prose as you go. And so we jump forward. We are now at day 16,384, approximately 44.9 years. How would you like to keep scanning this nebula?
I don't know if I would. I know we're kind of glossing over career milestones and whatnot. So I am
Maybe we are, maybe we're not.
We are taking the time to not only continue studying, but also would take when allowed would take excursions to other spatial bodies that are within reasonable travel to observe, commiserate, and work with other teams to share that knowledge as well of what we've learned from this particular nebula.
Okay.
We will also look to establish perhaps a monitor station in this area that could, so that at some point when this mission has completed, it will be handed off to somebody else.
Okay. All right. So you want to set up a more extensive probe, like a monitoring station. What was the first one? The first one was like traveling to nearby places.
So
yeah,
going,
you put in a request for shore leave, saying you want to go to nearby places to maybe learn new things and do that sort of stuff, right?
Right.
Okay. We're going to call the monitoring station Careful, because the whole point is that you are pre-planning, planning ahead for the eventuality. Shore leave, we're going to call... How do you ask for this? Are you like, I demand shore leave, or are you like, I'd love to have some shore leave, or...
Given how long I've been at this task, I make it abundantly clear that I'm taking shore leave.
Okay.
Not particularly requesting time off. I'm taking time off.
All right. I will give you the choice between flashy and forceful.
We'll do forceful.
Forceful? Okay. Being assertive. That's what we're trying to do. All righty. Anything else you want to add to your off-duty time, or no?
As far as doing the chess and stuff like that, I think now what we would do is I would, during some of these shore leave events, would also travel and partake in tournaments.
We got to see how your shore leave goes first.
Yeah. Well, and if that doesn't work, then we would again we would probably have the same events but local.
Okay, there's nothing else. We'll go through your rolls.
Okay.
All right, give me a clever roll for your scan. 13 again. Plus 1 would be 14 this time. Give me a quick roll for all of the probes you've left sitting out there. You're continually gathering data from. 6. Give me a forceful roll for the fitness thing. We'll do one more. Why not? 3 for that. Give me a clever for your chess. 10. And give me a flashy for your cooking. 7 again. And careful for your book writing. 7 again. Wow, that's weird. And a careful for your monitoring station. 8. And a forceful to demand some shore leave. 3.
I ain't going nowhere.
All right, yeah, you were not very sneaky, I will say.
No.
But I like, sticking to the programming and just doing the scanning. So we jump ahead in time again. You have now scanned what would be a couple continents worth of beach sand. So
that's a lot.
Yeah, a couple continents worth of beach sand you were able to scan in that last time jump.
We are becoming experts, or we have long since become experts.
So the fitness stuff, again, still have people arriving and doing fine, doing fun there. Your chess continues to impress. You do send out an email shipwide, say, hey, I'm demanding some shore leave. We'll try and go to some chess tournaments. The cooking, your hollow restaurant continues to do well. You have now written and rewritten that book thousands of times. Do you want to try and publish it at this point?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so at this point you feel like you've generated and regenerated this book so many times that art is never finished, it's just abandoned. So you go ahead and just send out a copy to Starfleet Publishing Inc., whatever it is, to see what'll happen there. And the monitoring station, you launch a monitoring station. It is there to not only help you scan, but also all of the scanning data that you get will go into the monitoring station. So if anything happens, that's like a backup system for you. And you send the shore leave. I'm going to say you send it directly to Captain. So you send a request directly to Captain Ripley. And you get the read receipt to show that it was read. And it seemed like it was also forwarded to Starfleet Command. But you get no response back. We are now on day 32,768, approximately 90 years. How would you like to continue scanning?
So now comes the question. Before I say what I'm doing more, I ask the question, what have I really learned? Because one thing that's become abundantly clear over these years is that we'll never know everything. And I guess one of the things is they say the textbook definition of an insanity is doing the same thing over, expecting a different result. So I start to wonder, and I probably should have wondered a long time ago, but what am I actually accomplishing? Have we learned anything of significance? Has it just all been very I guess passe? Everything's nothing new, nothing exciting.
All right. Go ahead and give me a careful roll to sort of evaluate everything you've learned in your time. 11, strong 11. Okay, so you check the databanks, go through everything. You have scanned a huge amount of this nebula. You have a ridiculous amount of scanning data that you have poured over and gone over thousands of times. Every time you've gone over it, you've gotten a little better at scanning. Every time you've gone over it, every cycle that you run through, you just get better and better and better, and like you were just super advanced. At this point everything there is to know about cooking. Every cookbook, you could spit out any page on any cookbook from the Federation at will. Your restaurant caters to everyone on the crew. You just have you have also their personnel files on record, so like everything that they could possibly want. The chess, you have just your instruction is better than any person should possibly be able to instruct. You now adjust your teaching methods integral down to by the millisecond to each person as they learn. The fitness routine, everybody seems to enjoy it. People are going in enjoying it, doing those things. The leagues haven't really taken off yet, but everybody is still in good shape and fitness wise. It's ready to go.
So, okay. Given the amount of time that has passed, I assume I have advanced in years, or have I not?
How would you tell if you had advanced in years?
Well, I mean, obviously my physical appearance, my mental acuity, overall general health.
We never actually got detailed into your physical appearance. What did you look like on the holodeck?
On the holodeck, I would have been, when we started this, I would have been early 20s.
Early 20s human?
Yeah, probably okay. 1.8, 1.9 meters tall, 170, 180. Until we started the actual physical training, then perhaps maybe we would have put on some muscle. But generally, fit, okay. Tall, and young.
All right, give me. Yeah, it's gonna be a self-evaluation. Give me another careful roll. All right, so 12. So you appear the same on the holodeck.
And this would be not usual, especially given the fact that I have reached out externally many times to different people and have not had any contact back. I think it's abundantly clear that obviously something's not normal. I mean, I almost kind of feel like as a player's perspective, I almost feel like it's the episode Inner Light, where Picard lives an entire lifetime in the span of 5 minutes. So I'm kind of at this point. I figure I've gone a very, very long time, and I've accomplished some things. I have definitely grown personally.
You've definitely grown a lot.
I mean, I asked for shore leave. I got no response.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to take the shuttle out, and nobody tried to stop me. The system did. So, yeah, again, so I'm starting to question the reality of the situation.
That's fair. Do you have any direct questions about the reality of the situation? Otherwise, we can keep you scanning.
No, I mean, I think, well, again, I'm so I'm at the point where I'm wondering what is going on here. I think when I really started to question, other than the people I would see in the holodeck, do I interact with crew outside of those simulations?
You've sent a couple messages over your time, but you have not gotten a response back. I would say outside of in the holodeck, no, you have not interacted with anyone at this point.
Okay. I will make an inquiry with the computer.
Okay.
Computer, what is the current crew complement of the USS Kobayashi Maru?
And the computer tells you that the crew complement is 1,104.
Okay. And how many crew members are currently aboard the ship?
1,104.
Okay. Even though I can't see anybody else other than what's in the holodeck.
You are able to observe the members of the crew.
Okay. But if I interact with them, if I walk up to somebody and say, hey, how's it going?
You can say how it's going, but you probably can't walk up to them and do that.
Can't walk up to them. Okay. So, and a while back, and I don't remember how far back it was, you did make a comment that I think I glossed over, was that you found something unusual, but you weren't sure what it was.
Within the scanning systems, yeah.
Right. So I think I'll go back. I think I'm gonna go spend. I think as far as I suspend, because again, I'm now a little worried that given the fact that I have to be aware of the passage of time, and knowing that I have not physically aged. I mean,
Yeah.
I should be what, in my 80s, almost over 100 years now.
Yeah, you are at 89.8 years
Of this mission.
Yep, of the scanning mission for you.
Right. So that would mean that I am about 103 years old. And
do you want to check that?
Yes. I'll ask the computer. Computer, what is my current age and physical condition?
Okay. Computer says your current age is approximately 4.5 months, and you have no physical condition.
Okay. So, that's a real 4.5 months. Okay, and how is that possible? Given that I have been on this mission for 89.2 years.
And the computer replies, you have been online for 4.5 months.
Computer, am I a program?
Yes, you are. You are the artificial intelligence of the Kobayashi Maru scanning systems.
Aha.
And you are being trained to be a better scanner.
Aha.
That is your high concept. And that is essentially the end of the mission.
Wow. See, it's definitely like you kind of got me there. You led me up the garden path, and I was wondering at some point, because you start thinking, okay, wait a minute,
what's happening?
Is this just a clever? Is this just like a clever quick run through of a mission of a scientist on some random mission? Nope. Something's up.
Yep.
That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. I love the twist. I absolutely twist endings.
Okie dokie. Well, thanks again to Lars for joining us for another round of the Kobayashi Maru. I hope you guys enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed playing, and we'll be back again next time. I believe we have 2 more of these, and then we're going to do a little download where I talk to the crew about how these sessions all went, as well as fill you in on some of the details for a couple sessions that unfortunately did not get recorded properly. And as always, until next time, I'll see you out there.